Well, I'm a recovering alcoholic now. I'm in my 4th year of sobriety. And I was a very heavy 16-year-old alcoholic. This was my first alcoholic episode started. And then I started getting into trouble through drink and ended up in prison and become a really nasty, horrible person. And it still affects me to today, my alcoholism. But it makes me a stronger person too. And I can help others with alcoholism. Well, I've been through domestic violence since the age of 14, 15, possibly earlier than that. I think the domestic violence started when I used to be abused by my father, mentally, physically, and any other way. And then when I left home, my first relationship was violent. I just seemed to pick the wrong people. And then I thought I met the right person who I felt deeply for. And he's messed with my head. Scars and bruises heal, but mental issues don't. I suffer today from post-traumatic stress disorder through all the domestic violence I've been through. It's horrible, but I try and keep strong through it. And I want to help others through domestic violence. And you know, we ended up in Chatham because we'd just come out of a women's refuge through domestic violence, through a fire in our old flat, who the police wouldn't believe us that it was my son's father. Fire brigade wouldn't believe it was my son's father. It's coincidental how it was 3 days after he was in court in the town he wasn't allowed in, which makes you think. It was the Oasis domestic violence people I was speaking to, and they believed me because they knew what his father was like. I was adopted, or I went into foster care when I was 6 months old. I was in care till I was 2.5. Went to what I thought was a nice family until after my adoptive mother died in '94. She died of lung cancer. I was like the black sheep of the family. Like, if anybody had any issues, they took it out on me, which I struggled with. So I have actually met my birth parents. My birth mother, I can't stand. I can't stand her. I remember the first time I met her, I had to walk out the room because I couldn't be near her. My birth father, he keeps breaking my heart. He's never there for me. Doesn't send me birthday cards anymore. He just doesn't care about me, full stop. Which is quite upsetting because I blame myself for everything that's happened in my family. It's very hard knowing I was adopted. And it is very hard. But I shouldn't have to blame myself for what I've been through. It's not my fault. I was 19 when I fell pregnant with my daughter, Ellie Mae, and I had no fixed abode. I didn't have anywhere to stay. I was sleeping around just for somewhere to stay. And when she was born on the 19th of April 2005, I knew when she was born, and I held her in my arms and had the skin-to-skin contact that I knew I wouldn't be keeping her. And when she was 3 months old, after I'd done the best that I could, it's the best for her to go into care and to be with a family that could look after her. So yeah, it's quite emotional. Every year on the 19th of April, or even 3 weeks before her birthday, I get very upset, very emotional. My PTSD plays up. I could give her all the love in the world, but I couldn't look after her. And I couldn't attach myself to her because I knew it wasn't meant to be. Yeah, it's one of the hardest things I've done is to sign adoption papers for my own child, knowing that I've carried her, fed her, clothed her, and then decided to give her up. It still to this day affects me. 3 weeks usually before her birthday, you could call it going off the rails. I get irritable. My post-traumatic stress disorder plays up. I get emotional. But it's definitely one of the hardest things I've done. And no one was there for me when I signed the adoption papers. So I was there by myself. And yeah, I've been going off the rails since. It feels like I've gone off the rails. But I know I'm strong. That's what my daughter would want. She'd want me to be strong when she sees me. So one day we'll see each other. I'm happy because I know my daughter's looked after and cared for, and she has all the happiness that she needs and wants. But also I'm happy because I gave birth to my little boy Ronnie on the 30th September 2010, and he's my world. He makes me happy. Sometimes he tests me and pushes me and tries my patience, but he's my world, and I wouldn't be without him. I'd be back on the drink if I didn't have my son. I'd either be on the drink or I'd be in prison. But my son's my miracle. He's kind of my saviour. Well, the Salvation Army, I got to know them through one Christmas Eve when I got assaulted by Ronnie's father. And he left me with no food, no electric, no gas, no money, nothing. So I phoned up the helpline for Salvation Army, and they brought me a food bag round and gave me money for gas and electric. And I just become very friendly with Audrey. She's like my best friend now. She's in Margate. and the Salvation Army are lovely. They do so much to help people, and now I'm doing things to give back to the community. It's nice. It helps me because knowing that I can be there for someone else at their times of trials and troubles, and too many people judge too quick, too soon about people that have been in trouble in the past. I have. I can't judge. I've done so many things, and it's good to be able to emotionally be there for someone. If someone's going to be in prison another 15 years, and it makes their day just by you writing to them, then it's brilliant. I love it, because sometimes their families don't even care about them. They don't bother about them. But yeah, it helps emotionally when I write to them. And it helps them emotionally. I've had a couple of prisoners where they've actually started behaving in prison because I've been writing to them. I wouldn't be happy if I didn't have Ronnie. I'll be back to the old me. Nobody would want that. But I would like to go on further in my happiness. But right now I'm happy because I've got my son, a roof over my head, food in the cupboard. That's all you need. So I'm happy.